Hello and welcome back to the 2013 World Mixed Doubles Curling Championship from beautiful Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. The second of 21 games we'll bring you this week on World Curling TV. I'm Dean Gemmell and I'm joined by 2011 Women's World Champion Sarah Carlson.
Lovely to be joining you again, Dean.
We're in the midst of the introductions, but our feature matchup, a Group C game between Estonia and the Netherlands. There we see the standings in Group C right now. Latvia, Norway, Scotland, Sweden, all with wins. The two teams we're showing today, Estonia and the Netherlands, both lost their first game. So they're hoping to get on the winning side of the ledger tonight.
Lineup for Estonia is husband and wife, Martin Lill and Christine Lill.
And for the Netherlands, it's a brother-sister duo, Mark Nielman and Marianne Nielman, and their coach, Els Nielman. It's a family affair here for the Dutch.
Estonia came closest with their draw to the button. They will have Hammer playing the red stones. Netherlands will play the yellow, of course.
Because that's all that's left. For them, there are no other stones to choose except the yellow. Exchanging gifts right now, I believe. What do you think the Dutch give as gifts?
I have no idea, Dean.
What would you I think a nice block of Gouda cheese. I think a nice block of Gouda would be nice to get from the Dutch. That's what I'd hope for if I was the Estonians.
I don't know anyone who would say no to some good cheese.
There you go. So Estonia will start here.
That would be Netherlands.
Netherlands, yes.
But seems like we have an early mix-up. The stones are not placed right. Of course, in mixed doubles curling, the rules are a little bit different. Two stones are already placed when you start. The team with Hammer will have a stone just back of the button, and the team without Hammer will have a center guard.
Now they've got it squared away, thanks to the players in the spirit of curling, fixing it up.
So it is Netherlands to start. Female player for them is Marianne Nielman.
I spoke to her mother, the coach, just before the game, and they said she had not curled despite the whole family playing until 2009 when she went out on the ice when her brother was playing the European Championships and started playing after that. She was the one in the family who eschewed curling for some time but could not resist its appeal anymore when she tried it at the European Championships. Curls out the other side. Not a bad first stone, but actually probably quite open on with the outturn. Now the Lills here, they say they enjoy bodybuilding.
Yeah, they're both pretty well into fitness. I think it's an important part of curling these days. Would you agree? I
think fitness is critical to curling, yes. At all levels, I think fitness helps. I think they might have meant weight training over bodybuilding, but I'm not quite sure. Bodybuilding seems to mean an entirely other endeavor, really. Schwarzenegger-like bodybuilding. So I think they could have played the outturn here, but...
Just saw that big curl on the intern side, so female player for Estonia is Christine Lill. She'll try and come round follow.
Not a bad result, really, even though the freeze is still open now. That's one where we might have seen the tick, if they would listen to us and our expert opinion, that we might think the tick on that center guard might have been a good play there.
So, as we take a look at Mark Nielman's first shot, would you care to explain why?
Well, I think, as we discussed earlier, if that freeze isn't perfect and you have the hammer, maybe opening up the scoring area by playing the tick or the weagle on that top rock, when you have hammer, could really open up the scoring area and get away from this where you're trying to score your deuce within the forefoot. And we haven't seen that a whole lot. And something I hope we see this week, just to see if you and I are right or wrong, and whether it's an effective strategy or not. Here's what I thought they could have played the first one, is out turn. So the way this ice finishes, they could probably almost get to nose on this.
It'd be nice if they could find a good angle here. Netherlands have done a good job of scoring down, or making the scoring area smaller for Estonia at the moment. Here is Martin Little, bodybuilding interested CEO.
CEO, yes, he's a CEO and a bodybuilder. I would like a resume like that. He also enjoys golf and basketball. A lot of recreational activities, but unfortunately a little tight and light with that rock, stone. So he is, as the World Curling Federation prefers, stone. So a little light and tight with that. Now, a lot of rocks in play here, though. Early, it's an interesting setup.
Yeah, Mark Neilman just want to come around and maybe tap up this yellow to set shot. I think it's probably important to be fairly accurate with this. You don't want to come up wide and leave some sort of double back for Estonians.
The switch to the other side was actually promotes curl. He's all over the guard too, and I think Martinier will have essentially the same shot he had on his previous one.
It's always nice as a player when you get a chance of playing the exact same shot twice. Of course, makes it easier once you've seen the path.
I think he could throw this with back four and just try to move that yellow a bit. But I don't know exactly what he's throwing. He had great draw weight in the last shot draw. He covered the pin twice in practice and then just about covered it on the one that counted. But perhaps in the interim, no, this looks close. On the top again. Dangerous rock though, one that could be used. Like they're going to guard, play the guard. It would seem to make a lot of sense here. Yeah, I think now our thought of playing that tick would have been a good one here, considering how this end is unfolded.
It's definitely starting to look difficult for Estonia to get more than one. So there may be a draw on the in turn available. But of course, first, Martin Little has another shot. Have 6 stones in the mixed doubles curling. 2 are placed in the start of the end, as we saw. So players actually play 5 stones. And you either play 1 or 5 or 2, 3, 4. And they are allowed to switch positions during the game.
You can't remove another stone from play until the 4th stone at the end. So even more than a free guard zone, you can't even remove one from play that's anywhere in the rings. There's no free guard zone.
So this, of course, makes for a very aggressive type of curling. Normally, because we start off at the center line with the guard and one just behind the tee, it's normally a lot of stones in the forefoot and a lot of freezes and angles and taps, and eventually some run backs.
Short there, short and over curling again. Don't know if I see a really good shot here for the Dutch. I guess they could play they could top that wide yellow on their own. I don't know if they can get to their yellow on the top of the button and miss that red. Or they could play it onto the red, a little more dangerous. Or do you think they could chisel the yellow on the 8-foot on the left side of the center line enough to? I don't think so.
I think they're too far apart.
Yeah. I don't really see a good shot other than a guard, which is, I think, what they're going to play.
Yeah, giving up one in the first end is definitely not a disaster.
Yeah, it's a force here is pretty good. I don't even know if we can. A force in mixed doubles seems. I don't even know if that's the right call, but right thing to call it. But a force of one. Actually, I guess it's the position stone is still the counter, isn't it? The Estonians, we talked to them before for the game, and they traveled to Toronto about a week ago, I guess, and practiced at the Western Golf and Country Club before they came to this event. Both teams, the countries in both teams do have dedicated facilities, which is good to hear, although the Dutch facility, I guess, has some building challenges. But they do have dedicated curling ice. Looks a little deep, but it probably won't matter. It's actually pretty good. I really don't see the. That's a tough top for two. They're gonna have to paper those high yellows to make the top for two. Did you know, Sarah, that there is a famous Dutch sailor, Mark Neelman? He's been in 6 Olympic Games. He's of no relation, though, to these Neelmans.
I did not know that. I always learn so much when you're around.
Yeah, he's a tremendous sailor. Olympic caliber sailor.
We're going to see if this stone managed to sail all the way down and tap it up. It looks a little bit light.
Close on line, but a little. I guess it might have been there, but had to just paper those yellows to get it to the button. So 1 for Estonia.
Yeah, you see the scoreboard there as well. 1 for Estonia in the first end.
We can't say there's really a long and storied tradition of curling between these two countries, can we? So this might be the building block match right here. From here on, you know, and then the two countries will grow as curling nations. And perhaps people will look back on this mixed doubles game as the first really big game in the tradition of curling between Estonia and the Netherlands.
It is possible.
So we could be here witnessing that. So the Netherlands has a coach, the Estonians do not, as you can see behind there. The Estonians have a camera, though, looks like. Is that their camera?
I would think so. So maybe they will coach themselves after the game.
It is difficult to consult with a camera during a timeout, but nonetheless, they will have the game recorded, which could be helpful. We see some of this, the husband-wife teams in mixed doubles curling.
Do you think there are any pros and cons to that?
I would imagine there are both pros and cons. I think you might, I think at many World Curling events we have massage therapists on hand here. They might have a couples therapist as well. I don't know, but the Lils seem to be get along awfully well. A little bit I saw them out there. Well, this rock is curling hard. Looked like a soft release there, and it's going to finish that big like that.
Yeah, now we see that important come around. We were talking about this in the last game. Netherlands can just draw another one in here. Those guards are kind of overlapped. They're not something that Estonia can run down. But rather than actually freezing on to the yellow and leaving Estonia freeze back, could just place this top 12 8-foot and actually leave themselves a little bit more room to actually score a couple of more.
I think that's definitely the better call, because if you do lock this on, the Estonians will lock one back on as well. And actually, that may not be the worst result, even though it's. I do think you're right, though. Burying one just top 8 would be better than the freeze.
Missing the line call on sweeping, though, is.
It was a little late.
Not the best.
No, it was a little late. And now Lil has the same shot back, the same freeze. He's a CEO. We don't know what company he's a CEO of, though, do we?
No.
We do not. We should. This is curling hard as well. Seems to me they either need to be a little more positive with the releases or take a little more ice, because everybody's over curling.
Yeah, the Lils have been playing at this level before. They should be familiar with the amount of curl that we see here. They played mixed doubles the past 3 years, finished 8th in 2010 and 2011.
Speaking of the amount of curl, we had a moment of silence before the opening ceremonies for legendary ice maker Shorty Jenkins, who passed away this week. Sadly, to lose Shorty, was an icon in the game, and I don't know if pre-Shorty we could have even seen a format like this, because the ice didn't curl enough to make it interesting. So it was great that they honored Shorty. Kate Caithness called for a moment of silence for Shorty. Might have been knowing Shorty a little bit. It might have been better to have a moment of loud conversation. Would have been more Shorty style. But the curling world suffered a loss with his passing, and we're glad to see a lot of people honoring him. I think they're going to honor him at the Players' Championship this week as well. So.
Estonians getting a little bit of help from Mark Neilman here, just again over curling or under curling.
Yeah, that was one that didn't curl enough.
Mark Neilman, 29-year-old, works as a curling instructor actually.
And an ice technician. I believe he makes the ice at their club, where they said 120 members in the Netherlands at the dedicated facility they have. They did say it's an older building and a little prone to the changes in weather affecting the ice, but they do have dedicated ice, so that's a good thing. Nice to see these countries where they have dedicated ice. More and more countries having it.
So let's see if Martin Lill can find the hole here and get another red one in. We might just see another force.
There's a lot of wrecking here right now. It's still actually the place stone is still there, isn't it?
It is one more time.
Might be the counter again.
So this first and very important battle looks like it's going to be a close one.
The rare inside-out shot here in mixed doubles. You see very few of these shots, so it's good to.
Yeah,
important. Is definitely available though.
Yeah, important for the teams to try kind of communicate here, because this path will be a little bit different. It'll maybe curl more or be a bit slower.
Actually, even though moving that is actually a pretty good result.
Yeah, this is a bit more what we would see in a regular curling game. Stones actually spread out a little bit.
Got a bit fortunate to rub his own and save the shooter as well. I think now, though, Martin Lill is down to. He's actually going to play this red and try to spill both reds in, or spill the second red in, I guess. Hoping that it goes behind cover. He could just play the come around here. I mean, the outturn come around.
Yeah, it's exactly what he threw for the T-line draw that he made perfect.
For the last shot draw, I would think he'd, make even if he leaves the come around a little bit open, it would jam on the back yellow. So it's kind of perhaps a riskier call, and I don't know exactly what he gets out of it, but we'll see. I think I've been proven wrong at least once today, so.
Maybe just playing a bit more difficult than necessary here.
Yeah, now the draw is actually a little bit tougher, even though they're still there. But had 2 chances really to make the draw. He could have made it. and Christine could have made it as well. Of course, now Mark Neilman can make this draw and really put leave the Estonians hooped, as we might say. Do they say hooped in Sweden? You don't say hooped when you're in big trouble. You're hooped.
Not really, no, but I can see what you mean.
You might want to start doing that. Say you're hooped.
I'll bring all of your wisdom back to Sweden, Dean.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Just you wait and see what we do next year.
Oh, yes.
So chance here for Mark Neilman to sit 3.
Looked pretty solid with that throw. He is sweeping on the offside all the time. If we talk about switching, the switching that we do in traditional curling, it would actually have been, if he had to get it by the guard, he would have been promoting curl. It's not the best spot for that one.
In the hack?
In the hack, or close to the hack. It's really the best spot for a draw, and it wasn't there, unfortunately. I think got a high 5 nonetheless, or a low 5. Of course, now, I mean, I think are they playing they're playing a tap? Are they confused again? But they're going to play a hit on that one.
Or if that's a lot of ice for a hit. You think they're maybe just pushing it back and trying to roll in a bit?
Yeah, just trying to move it a little bit. Not a normal weight hit, just trying to move it a bit. Again, they could still play the out-turn come around, bury one there, and possibly steal. And at least take the end away.
Yep.
Oh, Christina Lill is
jumping on it early. Scrubbing it. She's being joined by her husband now. He's bringing all his bodybuilding efforts to sweeping this one. He's going to need all of them, I think, to top this one far enough. Well, and now it's going to be a draw for 3, I think. I don't think they tapped it far enough, so I think it'll be a draw for 3 for the Neilmans of the Netherlands. Sure seemed to me that out-turn draw was available and probably would have been the way to go. Not really any harder than the shot they played.
no, and it's actually maybe easier just to draw one than to tap one.
Right, especially on ice that moves like this and with a big late finish. You can see how much the ice moves just by the amount of ice they're taking on this shot. See Marianne's release and see if she extends out. Looked pretty positive with the broom with that.
Mine's okay.
That sounded like hot to me. Did that sound? Doesn't look hot though. Looks like she needs to go on it.
Yep.
I'm not sure she said hot.
You don't think I got the Dutch? She's close.
Do you think maybe she said 8, which would maybe be 8?
Oh, I think they're just short. So close. Really close. Oh.
Let's measure them. Sure.
Mark was calling for 3 yellow, but they're going to measure those 2. I think they just got it there.
Measure.
Even without bodybuilding, they swept that really well. Because
sometimes you just need to be sweeping in time.
Because instead of bodybuilding, Marianne enjoys photography and knitting. So the knitting surely didn't help her on that. But nonetheless, some great sweeping to get it for 3rd shot, I think. Do you enjoy knitting, Sarah?
I'm absolutely terrible at knitting, Dean. Do you?
No, I prefer to crochet, actually. I like to.
All right.
No, yeah, no, I'm not.
I think I prefer bodybuilding.
Well, you are Sarah Biffin Carlson, so, you know, since that's the...
You're a little bit jealous of my nickname there.
Yeah, I don't know why no one
there
gave me such a nickname. It is 3 yellow. They swept it just far enough. Nobody helped me out with a nickname that was so positive about you.
Well, you can pick one and I'll start using it.
All right, I'll come up with a nickname. Big 3 there.
Yep, after 2 ends, it's Netherlands 3, Estonia 1. We also have a couple of other games going on. Slovakia is playing Norway. They got 5 in the first end.
5 in the second end, right? Sorry, God, I'll be quiet, Sarah, while you give the rundown.
Why would you do that to me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was really bad form.
Scotland's playing in England. They got 1 in the first end. And Sweden is playing Finland. Finland got 1 in the first end, and Sweden with a huge 5 back in the second end. Third end starting here. Marianne Neilman, currently she's been at 67% so far. Do you think the stats are lower in mixed doubles curling than in regular curling?
Well, I think they have to be lower, right? You would definitely, I think you definitely shoot a lower percentage without having the benefit of 2 sweepers and even teammates, and you're also a lot of motion. You're up and down the ice. I think one of the biggest things in mixed doubles is learning to take a breath and not sort of rush around. There's a tendency to want to rush madly up and down the ice and jump in the hack and throw. And the whole rhythm of the game is a little different, and I think that the best teams here just accept that it's different and figure out how to play this particular format well and throw out a few of the things they know about traditional curling. So I think your percentages with any player are going to be 10 to 15% lower than in traditional curling.
She definitely got some good percentage on her first shot, though. Marianne Neilman absolutely locked that dead on. I think that's a challenge too when you play the first and the 5th stone. You always play the freeze on your first, and then you wait 3 stones and you just throw 1 more. It's actually quite a big challenge because you don't throw that often.
Christine at 47%. You're right. It's a long gap between. Well, I mean, you have longer in traditional curling, but it seems like a while when you throw 1 and 5. We need better names for 1 and 5, 2, 3, 4, right, Sarah?
What did you say? The burger and the bun?
Yeah. So the burger is. So, for instance, the men in this are playing the burger, and the women are playing the bun. Right? There's the burger and the bun position. So.
I love your creativity.
I think it would be good. I think we always have such good terms in curling. I think we need some new terms for mixed doubles instead of 1 and 5 and 2, 3, 4. So throughout the week, we're happy to take some help on that too from anybody out there watching. Just some suggestions.
Yep, all of your suggestions and also your questions can be posted on our Facebook, or you can use Twitter and put the hashtag WMDCC 2013.
Exactly.
As you heard, Dina's very creative, and he's also very smart and funny, so just feel free to post any questions on there. We'll take them on.
The bookend positions, that could be the bookend. You could be the bookends if you're 1 and 5 as well, the bookend in the middle. That might be one way to go.
Yep, so playing the middle for Estonia. Martin Little. And since it's sitting quite nice for Netherlands, but we are quite deep down in the house. Everything is on the tee line, so if he could just lock this one on here.
Or even if he chops off a little bit, right? Like if he could chop off one of the yellows.
Yeah, definitely.
Spread it out a bit here.
Ooh, that was not an option, though.
That yellow was not the one we wanted to chop off, unfortunately, but they could start to build up a red house here, though. If you get a mistake, and they might be able to get a big number this end. It's a big shot here, actually, for Mark Neilman. If he locks one in here, they're in great shape this end. If he doesn't, still a good opportunity for Estonia to score multiple points.
Yeah, they could hit and roll off of that red. They're just going to draw another one in here. 74% for Mark Neilman so far in the tournament. This, of course, being their second game.
I think in mixed doubles, that's a pretty good percentage, a cumulative percentage so far. I think I think 75% and above in mixed doubles is solid. So 74, he's playing pretty well. We'll leave that. Plan to leave it higher. Pretty good spot. Might have been able just to get right in there, right in between the two yellows. But that leaves Martin Lill and Christine Lill with some questions here.
You see them talking about playing in off of their own. That could create some nice angles for them if they make it good.
I think slashing in that high yellow, right? If you slash that, hit half a rock, and you'd lose your back red, but spill out those two yellows, would be suddenly then you'd have a house that I think would look a lot better. You could have two red. You could be lying 2-3, and nothing behind cover, which would be good.
They are not listening to you though, Dean.
Well, I don't blame them. They've played this more than I have, but I'm not sure exactly. You play the in-off off of your own here.
But you could maybe remove the yellow a little bit and set one or two, but it's a difficult shot. And here we see what teams get very, very focused on, like what's on the forefoot and opponent stones, and rather than.
Oh, sure, just make that and show me how wrong I was. just a gem there, that is. I don't know if they're even shot yet, but I think they might be. A great rock. Great call, Martin.
Well, it's normally a very good call if you make it.
Yes.
Here you see it again, just a perfect roll in there.
They're lying at least one, I think, and maybe 1-2, but I think probably 1-3. What do you think? Can't really tell.
Thinking the same, but at the same time, Netherlands are looking to remove the back red.
They could run their own. Oh, they're going to look at running their own. The one he just, one that Mark threw in his last, run that into the pile, which could be a pretty nice result. You could lie probably. I think they could lie 1-2, maybe 1-2-3 if they get lucky.
Well, it's also quite. Do you think that they could manage to remove both yellows and maybe leave 2 or 3 reds sitting around if they don't make this perfect?
You're right about that. It's got
they don't
pretty
have
high
armor.
risk reward here. They could easily remove at least one of the yellows and leave 3 reds in there. Really great shot by Martin Lill there. It's about the most discussion we've seen in the game in almost one half that we've covered so far. This is the most discussion we've seen on the shot. There is, like I mentioned before, there is a tendency in this format to get in a mode of rushing up and down the ice, and time doesn't ever really seem to be an issue. People don't seem short on time, so I think a little more thought would probably be, you'd be well served to have a bit more thought on each shot. I think if they could, if they slash their own yellow, do they catch that back red, lose their yellow and 2 reds?
I think so.
Just?
Well, it might not be a bad result. I mean, they are 3-1 up.
I think they're going to come down and try to just freeze or tap get to the nose of their yellow. And if they could tap it just a bit, they could sit probably 2-3 and make it tough for the Estonians to score more than 1. Mark settles into the hack. Their father is competing next door in the World Seniors, skipping the Netherlands team. So this week here in Fredericton is really a family vacation.
Be interesting to see if what happens if he actually rolls out a little bit with this. What will he leave? Estonia.
If he chops off, it's not going to be good. He looks like he's light, though. Really going hard on it. I think that he's not going to move it. He might just leave it high. Martin is really making it tough for us to see what's going on here. There we go. I think... Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
No, it's just, are they sitting 1 and 2 or only 1? That's what we would like to know.
I think they're sitting just 1. But could quickly become sitting 2 here. I think they're just 1 right now, though.
Suht triki vise. Suht triki vise.
Mis teine variant on? Tulla lihtsalt siia või?
Ideaalne oleks sellega kõksata see veel paremaks.
No just. Ta peab tulema suht nagu siia.
Ta peab tulema niisugune 50%.
Jah.
Ja siis on see, et kui tuleb tugev, siis ta avab selle kivi, millega saab selle omakorda ära lüüa.
Mis teine variant on siis? Tulla siit?
Selle kollasega mängida siit. Või siis mängida puhtalt siit.
Jah. Aga see puhtalt ei oleks üldse kõige parem või ei ole?
No sellega tekib neil ikkagi võimalus läbi oma kollaste meie tagumine punane ära lüüa.
Jah.
Et sellepärast kas siia kaitse
Jah.
või siis tuleb õige suuna puhul lükkame selle edasi.
Okei.
Well, I got okay out of that Estonian conversation. I got the okay. So did you get much more than that, Sarah?
You got exactly what I got.
I got okay. So they are...
At least agreeing on what they're doing.
That's good news for their marriage, good news for the shot. They're on the same page, so I'm excited about that. But this is actually a battle of the lightly used languages, Dutch and Estonian. Really not spoken much outside of those countries. Dutch perhaps a little bit more than Estonian, but yeah, so we should have a special cup just for that. The lightly used languages cup.
You wouldn't be allowed to play in it.
No, I can't. I can't play in it. I'm ineligible because sadly I'm not able to speak much more than English. I wish I could.
So what's going to happen here?
I think he's trying just to chip them in to lie shot, perhaps. No, I don't think so. I think no, actually it might be yellow's shot now. I'm not really sure. I still think that's, you know, as pretty as Martin's shot was, the in-off to go in there, I still think the slash was the better call. Although it was a great shot that he made, getting the 2 is tough, and now I'm not so sure if they're lying 1.
Ja, ik denk het ook.
Let's listen in here.
Dan kan nog steeds die spelen.
Maar ik denk dat hij via deze kant op een gegeven moment echt wegkrijgt.
Kan nog steeds die spelen, maar ik denk dat die guard makkelijker is, hè?
Kaart mag
Ja.
kaart. En via deze kant kan hij alleen zijn eigen tikje geven.
Nou, deze kant is voor 1.
Ja.
Deze zou eventueel voor 2 zijn,
Ja.
dus laten we die maar dekken.
Ja.
Ja?
They've elected to play the guard. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even sure if they're shot, but they've elected to play the guard.
I think they might be shot.
Looks like they are shot, and even if they aren't, the guard is probably their shot, unless they want to try to chisel that yellow over if they thought they weren't shot. Just paper it. But that would actually probably might make something easier for the Lils.
So just a guard here from Marianne Neilman. It's been an interesting end.
Yeah, we've seen a great shot out of Martin Lill that in the end still might make it hard for him to score. But he made a great in-off. The guard is effectively placed. Do you see a shot out there for 2, Sarah?
No.
No, I'm not sure I do either. I think if they're not shot, I think the shot might be to chisel that yellow onto their red, right? Is that the only way to score if they're not shot now? They hit that yellow in the top 4 onto their red. Should spill over to the pin. Can't see much of it, but I think they can see enough of it. I think that's what they're playing.
I think that's what they're left with.
I think if they can just touch the red with that yellow, they're going to look at that. They're going to go yellow, yellow, red, I guess. Which could, if they made it perfect with a lot of weight, they could get 3. But we'll see what they throw here. It's a long double run back. That is the call. With the amount of ice, I think they're throwing it with some weight.
Yeah, they would need some weight here.
Yep.
Last stone of the third end, double run back for Estonia.
Oh, sounds like it was tight out of her hand. They're off it. I don't think the double run back is going to work out through the hole.
Let's measure again.
They're going to measure again, according to Martin Lill. A lot of action for the measure so far in just the game and almost one half that we've covered.
Yep, keeping the umpires busy.
Oh, and the measure's at the other end. It's a long trip.
Well, that means we might have some time to update on the other games. What's going on, Dean?
Well, I was going to let you do it, and then I would interrupt again, but I guess I'll start. On sheet C, we've got Slovakia and Norway. Slovakia jumped out with that big 5 in the first end. They're now up 6-2. Norway with the hammer, playing the fourth end. Scotland against England. UK battle. Scotland's up 3-1. They're in the fourth end with England with the hammer. And on the outside sheet there, it is Sweden against... It's covered again, so I need to look. Sweden against Norway.
Finland.
Finland, yes. Another Scandinavian battle. Sweden up 6-1. Finland with the hammer playing the fourth. The English team over here, I talked to them briefly before this game while we're looking at a measure, which isn't all that exciting to watch. But I talked to them, and they're 22-19 in this event. See a lot of that, right? So there's sort of the age range goes from the very young to the older, I'll say, in this event.
Well, I guess a lot of players that maybe they're not in a team at that elite level, they will have the chance to try and compete in the mixed doubles. And so we see a lot of different players out here, as umpires told us that yellow was shot. So steal for Netherlands, and they will now lead the game 4-1.
So I think that, you know, that despite the great shot by Martin there, and they didn't open up the scoring area with that play. So the youngest player in this event is 17, and then we go older than that. But it is a good opportunity, especially for some of these countries where curling is a developing sport. It's a great way for them to get some new players in the game and get their youngest competitors some exposure to higher level play. And while the mixed doubles format is different than our traditional curling, of course, it seems to me that, as we discussed in the first game, the real key is making shots. Doesn't matter. And that way it's the same as regular curling. You make more shots, you win games.
And also I think when you don't have those sweepers and the stats are maybe a little bit lower, it's really important that you have the right mindset and you talk a lot with your teammate and you're sure, so that you know, if we're not making this perfect, where is it still okay? Because a lot of the times the teams that make the most okay shots actually end up winning. If you don't try and be perfect and maybe overthrow your stones, you've got a lot to win.
You know, Earl Morris, coach in Canada, talks a lot about that tolerance, always talking about the tolerance on any shot you have. He talks about that in traditional curling, but it's even more important, I think, in this. You really have to know where the miss should be, and typically in this, like we said in the first broadcast, 3 feet short is a lot better than 3 feet deep. Just typically the same in regular curling, but it seems amplified in this format.
And here we see this shot again, where Netherlands come up short with their first. And once again, Estonia here wanting to put in another draw. It would have been really good. Top 12, 8 foot will rut the guard and come in really deep. Which basically just means that they're not taking advantage of them. It's just handed to them by the Netherlands, and it's opportunity right back. 2 guards and 1 stone behind the tee line. Mark Neilman would just love to lock one on here.
You're right, and the freeze was not needed on that. If you are top 8, even half buried, that's a great shot. Top 8, rather than the freeze. The freeze, I think, is the second best shot, and the third shot in that scenario is where it ended up, deep. This shouldn't be deep either. But if they swept that right back, now they could still... Oh, he is motioning for top 8 there, Sarah. Did you see that? He did indicate put that in the top 8 rather than the freeze.
Yeah, make it hard for your opponents. If you put a top 8, where are they going to go? It's really hard for them. Like, the freezing it's maybe not helping them that much, and you can't really come around and freeze the shot stone either. So just leave yourself a lot more room to come in and score your deuce or more.
The Lils from Estonia have had 2 8th place finishes in World Mixed Doubles play.
Yeah, it would be really great for them to be able to make playoffs and improve of that for sure.
This one's just going to be a little bit deep and over curl a little bit. Not a bad result, but still available to freeze one in there or chop off that top red and sit there. It's still available for the Netherlands. And Mark Neilman in the hack while we watch his sister hold the brush at the far end. See how this finishes. I think they can go on it.
This one looking a lot better than the previous one.
Pretty good results. Cap off a bit, close down the scoring area, use that rock later. Definitely better than the back 12 results. Now once again, Martin Lill, and they're looking again at a closed down scoring area here. That wouldn't have happened if his last shot had been a little higher in the top 8. Difficult to see what you do with that yellow at this point. Are they just guarding, or did they elect to try to come in and move that yellow?
I think they are just guarding. Sitting 2 at the moment. Maybe just like to protect that.
Sitting 2, down 4-1. They imagine if they get 2, they get back in the game. Really, I think any single point differential in this format is essentially the same as a tie game.
Yeah, definitely. It's just one little mistake, and we've seen teams score 4 or 5.
And we see a number of steals too. I mean, last rock isn't quite the advantage it is in traditional curling, I don't think, anyways. I think that might be you might be available on the intern. Could they move the reds with the intern?
Well, they're definitely going to make an attempt.
Yeah, I think they could definitely get in there and move them a little bit. Maybe sit 2 or at least 1. This might have been the shot for Estonia to play, actually.
Iets harder misschien.
On its way.
Is kort.
He's got to go on it. That wasn't me.
And now it's really, really guarded.
Yeah, now the 2 seems locked up. You have left. I don't know how you would. You needed to at least throw that hard enough to move it, even if he spilled off his shooter, right, and moved him a little bit. One thing I found in mixed doubles is it's hard sometimes when you throw the rock and then jump up to gauge. You have an idea out of your hand, but then not starting with the rock as a sweeper, it takes you a little bit to adjust. Actually, I think it's even harder when you're coming out of the rings, catching up to a rock midway down, or and trying to figure out the weight sort of on the fly. You come up to it, you don't see the player's delivery.
Yeah.
And I think it takes you a little bit of time, catch up to it, gauge how fast the rock is moving. It's a little different than when you play front end and you're you know how your skip or third throw it, and you can sort of tell out of their hand what it's like. You don't get that with mixed doubles.
And also throwing, you can constantly get that feedback from your sweepers, and just it's easier to throw the next one. You just kind of had to judge it yourself, even though you have your skipper to tell you what it looked like.
Exactly. It's a little different skill set, and some things you have to learn to do without some of the aids that we usually have in traditional training. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different way of thinking. This rock is heavily guarded now. This pair of red stones. I'm not sure I see a really good shot for the Netherlands here.
It's not really a shot for anyone.
There may be no shot for anyone. I mean, the way the ice curls, you might be able to, even though that yellow stone is overburied behind that red guard, you might be able to tickle it over, but just skin it. Since there's only, it's awfully tough, isn't it? That may not be there either.
They were looking at running the red down here. I think it's quite risky.
It could be. I mean, that is a shot to play, definitely. But it's also partly, one bit of it is covered behind that yellow too. So it's even, you really want to hit it on nose or even a little cross it a bit, and you can't do that. I guess you could slash it in and miss your yellow and pick out those two reds.
Yeah, I think that's what they're looking at.
Bold.
Yeah, you don't want to accidentally just pick out the yellow and leave a nice little draw.
You might not be able to get, maybe you can't get enough of it to pick out your yellow. Maybe it's like 3/4 of a rock or half a rock, and if you otherwise you're going to hit the yellow guard on the center line. So maybe it's not. I hope they throw it just to see what happens.
Round. Zijn we nog wel die, hè? Zullen we gaan guiden?
Just doesn't like the look of it from the other end. So I'm going to consider the guard.
Kunnen we wel met die rode naar die gele aan de binnenkant?
Ja.
Ja, dat is nog steeds voor twee dingen.
Maar als ik hem er omheen gooi,
Ja, oké.
dan hebben ze die ook niet.
Ja.
So yeah, okay. So I'm going to think that means a guard. And they're going to be happy to take a 1-point lead into the break.
Might just be smart here. I mean, giving up 2 is probably not the end of the world for Netherlands.
You can also play the guard with the other turn, play it inside out here. Oh, no, she's not playing the guard, I don't think. I think she's trying to just paper the red guard just outside the rings and tick their own yellow. They are trying that. Just got to just paper that red, though. That's going to be too far. I don't think there's a shot for 3, though. I say that.
Could there maybe be a draw?
I mean, I guess if it finishes enough, you could get enough of the button there. Sure, that's there, actually.
Need to put this on the tee line to tie the game up after 4 ends. Christina Little. Here is the last stone of the 4th end.
aeg on hea, suund on hea. Jep. 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 Oh.
Has to catch a piece of the button here.
Not a lot of rotation on this, so I think it has actually going to curl away now. Two red.
Two red.
Yeah, and so half of the game is played. Players are about to take a short little break, have a talk to their coach or camera. Here you see the line score after 4 ends. We're going to have a short break as well, and we'll be back with some highlights before the start of the second half.
One red.
So here we are with the highlights. In the first end, Christina Little attempted a really difficult tap for 2. Some good angle. She comes up just a little bit short, and it'll be 1 for Estonia in the first end. In the second end, Marianne Nielman for Netherlands has a draw for 3. They're both sweeping it all the way. Needs full 12 foot. It's really close. Teams are calling a measure. And we'll be told that it was enough. Score of 3 for Netherlands. Third end. Christina Lill here attempting a double run back over curls.
Let's measure again.
And once again, we're going to see a measure. Really close, but it's going to be a steal for Netherlands, taking a 4-1 shots lead in the game after 3 ends. And we are back with the second half of our game between Netherlands and Estonia. This is the World Mixed Doubles Championship of 2013. Female player for Estonia is Christina Lill.
A game that looked like Netherlands might open up a big lead, but Estonia came back with a nice deuce there in the fourth end. A deuce that was sort of sewn up early. Now here's one of these situations where we think that a tick could be considered. Why open up the scoring area a bit?
You move the play out to the side, make it a bit more like regular curling. Marianne Nielman is going for the freeze here.
So this rock has some curling to do, which it should do, but maybe she's a little solid too, though. Definitely don't want to do this. Come to the back.
And Estonia, of course, they are looking to steal here, and right now they have a center guard and a good shot stone, so it's looking good for them at the moment.
Martin Lill, CEO of some company, not sure which one.
Yep, he plays stones 2, 3, and 4 for the Estonian team. It's quite normal that we see the man playing 2, 3, and 4 and the women playing 1 and 5. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think a lot of teams like the idea of a male player throwing it in the middle in case you do want to move a lot of rocks and throw some bigger weight. So I think that's why we see it primarily. There have been some teams that with some success where the man is throwing 1 and 5, but typically it's 2, 3, 4 for the male player. We haven't seen anybody switch so far mid-game either, have we?
No, it's been consistent with the positions so far.
Which probably makes sense to maintain your same positions. I don't know what advantage you suddenly gain by switching unless somebody's just going badly in a particular position and you figure it's a good way to change things up and maybe get somebody to make a few more shots.
Yep, Mark Neilman with a peel here, time to open things up.
Up and over the foam. I like the peel there.
Why do you like the peel?
Well, just back to what we talked about earlier. I mean, I think now that you know, now, while Martin Lill will be trying to guard or come around that one in the top 12, it still gives you a chance to open up this end a bit.
Yeah, and remember, Netherlands have 2 stones in the back there, so if there's ever a double available for them, those might come into play.
Exactly. I think the call was to top 8. I think they'd like to be fight the 4 is probably pretty good.
Want to be careful not to set up a double here, though.
It's true. They might just be playing the straight guard, actually, I think. just guarding the. But guards are not
It's
always
over
easy.
curling.
Guards are not always easy on ice that curls this much.
Kan hem zien, Marjan?
I think that
Ja?
Marianne came out to motion with appeal, but her brother pointed out that the one in the back is available. So it's certainly available. I think he can get under it and lie 3 here.
Just hack board, wait to get a little bit of movement.
He's working hard on it. He's close. Got to get by. He's real close. Easy. Whoa, once you're by the guard. Clear those back ones. Pretty good result.
Yes, it's 2.
Going to sit 2. And the yellow was rolled a little bit under.
It's nice in front of the tee line there.
Sama suund.
That's why that peel is paying dividends now. You can make the peel. Martin Lill threw a so-so guard and left an opportunity for the Netherlands to open up that scoring area and make those ones in the back come into play. I think with a little less weight, maybe they get off it right by the guard. They might be sitting 3, but I don't think that's a big issue right now. It's a pretty good setup for the Netherlands. A lot of stopwatches I've noticed with the mixed doubles players, and I think they're kind of tough to actually use in mixed doubles. Does your team rely on the stopwatch that much, Sarah, in traditional curling?
We have them. We try not to rely on them too much. I think in mixed doubles maybe it's just a case that they use them normally and they just haven't taken them off.
I think that's it, because I don't know if it's really serves you that well in mixed doubles. It seems to me it's just another thing to deal with in a game where part of it, I think, is settling and making sure you're throwing shots well. I don't know if the stopwatch is that advantageous.
Maybe you've got your skipper just doing the hog to hog splits, just to be aware of if there are any changes going on the sheet.
Of course, we still haven't seen we've seen a couple of shots played inside out in this game, maybe, but we haven't seen a lot in those paths yet. Not that we're going to see that here. Mark Nealman with the shot on the way.
I'm just going to go down top 12, 8 foot here.
Martin Lill's shot was a pretty good one, actually.
Yeah, definitely makes scoring 2 a little bit harder.
Close down the scoring area.
A nice angle here for Netherlands.
Yeah, that angle should work well for them if they get a chance at it.
kui ta tuleb selle peale, siis ta lükkab selle siia ära. Saame selle siit edasi. Tagajoonega väga hea.
Pretty sure in Estonian they're talking about the double tap.
Ja. Läheb kaitsesse, ei juhtu ka midagi.
And all is okay in Estonian or any other language.
How difficult is it to make a tap like this?
Well, certainly available, right? I mean, it's. I think she can get to.
90 on
Tough
väga
to
hea.
top it though, right? And move the other one enough to sit one.
Yeah, I think they're looking also at the option of tapping red onto the yellow one just played by Martin Lill.
Yep. Tularia. Kavari. Ei.
I don't think they're going to be able to. That doesn't sound good in any language. Hey. I don't think they're going to. Doesn't really change the situation all that much, except make the draw easier.
I think she just played a bit too much weight.
Yeah. So now the draw for 2 is easier than it was.
Wat zeg je? Ik wil laatste steen.
Mark wasn't quite sure that it was last stone yet. That can't happen in mixed doubles. You're throwing 1 rock, then 3, then 1. So that shot that the Lills threw actually makes this in-turn draw certainly a lot easier. Needs full forefoot.
Here we go. Marianne Neelman for Netherlands, and the last stone of the 5th end.
Brothers coming out to sweep as well. Picking up at about 3/4 of the way down. We're going to really work out,
here.
but it looks like it's going to be short. Which will So the Netherlands, after maintains a 2-point lead.
And that would be their father cheering them on.
Shockingly, the group in orange is from the Netherlands. His dad, Wim, is playing in the World Seniors. I would imagine that's his men's team right there. Not sure how they're doing. Comes the official setting up the rocks. I'm going to bet, I'll bet you $1 Sarah gets them right.
I have faith in the officials. I'm not going to bet you that.
Could also see he was headed in the right direction with it. So, you want to give an update on the other sheets?
Of course, Norway scored a really big 5 back on Slovakia to tie that game up at 7 each. Scotland got 3 in the 5th to take a 6-2 point lead over England, and Sweden with a comfortable lead over Finland. After 5 ends, they are up 8 shots to 3.
Close. Line's okay.
And with that update, we see Marianne Neelman throwing her shot first
Long, neat.
of the 6th end. Rock's on its way.
Clean.
Weight looks close.
Yep. Yep.
Line looks pretty good.
Hard. Come on, hard. Go, 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 go. Meili paremaks. Okay. Siia lukku.
Well done. A little bit short, over curl just a little bit. We are seeing that a bit. Rocks over curling behind guards. Really have to get by the guard by a fair amount the way these rocks finish. I think this is one, I don't know what the call is, but you could probably move this yellow now. You could move it open.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Hey.
again, just if you could move it if you come close to the guard, and if you take the guard,
Hey.
and it's a really good option.
There's a call for sweeping early, but I think
Hey.
now that
Ainult lukku.
if it finishes a bit to
Yep.
chop it, yeah. Not a bad shot.
Väga hea.
Angle is good.
14 joonte vaheline. 14-2. 12 of 4.
Huh?
12 of 4.
Wat hier?
Okay?
From the yelling from one end to the other that you get in mixed doubles. It seems like they're on the same page pretty quickly. Brother, sister. We have no problems with communications with these four. Brother, sister, husband, wife. Or maybe we will, I don't know.
Well, we wouldn't know. We can just hear the fact that they sound happy.
They do, they sound happy and they're on the same page and not a lot of dissension.
On the same page as this with your book theory about being the covers in the middle,
Yes.
and then on the same page. I like it.
Oh yeah, I'll just keep going with that.
Have a nice red thread going through your story.
Yeah, I'll stick with that.
On the same page won't help you if you don't play what you intend to play, though. Mark Neelman comes a bit deep with that, so question is now what's Estonia going to do about the situation?
Tuleme veel ühe asetuse.
If they can tap this up a little bit,
uus asetus võiks
it's
tulla.
going to look
Poole
pretty
punase
nice for
peale.
them. They would, of course, like to score 2 at least here in the 6th then to tie the game up.
Seems to me they can hit that red onto the yellow and push the yellow open.
Aga selline suund.
I would play that versus just freezing. I would be trying to move that yellow a little bit already. Or they could peel the guard. They could play the peel here as well.
Yeah, they've got a good situation going on in the house. Could get rid of the guard.
Peel the guard, and it seems as though a deuce would be pretty easy at that point.
võta natuke kitsam.
Might be a fairly routine deuce if they peeled the guard. But I think they are, I
võid
think
veel
they're
võtta.
freezing. Maybe trying to bump it, I'm not sure.
Well,
With that
at some
ice.
point they are going to need to make the bump, so you might as well do it now when you have a couple of stones left to play.
I would agree with that. I'd be trying to move that yellow now, or peeling the guard.
Yeah, you don't, since you only play 5 stones, you can't really spend too much time just setting up angles. You need to make a move a little bit quicker than you need to in a regular game.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you turn it, if he's by, oh. Don't want to set up a double here either. Oh, don't sweep it any deeper, I don't think. Well, slash double's available.
võid ka olla.
It's just another a bit of a line call. They could have tried to open up the guard more
selleks, et lang-.
or swept it earlier to come by.
Yeah, they should have probably committed to that. You're right. Either they didn't think they were going to get by, really whacked the guard. They're looking at the slash double.
Hit and roll. Ja?
I don't mind the slash double.
No, hit and roll if you push that red out.
Iets van binnenkant nose.
You would take away the angles, and hello to you guys. But probably leave a double right back.
Exactly.
Ja.
Settled on something. I'm not sure what. Let's see. I think what kind of weight he throws will tell us. I think they're playing the slash double. Off it. Just watching it. Might have been a little full with it. Oh. They need to sweep that.
Do you think they were going for the roll in instead and just waiting for it to curl?
I hope so. But yeah, it's, the slash double was almost made there. They probably, if they give that a few licks on the way down, I think they might have held it enough to make the slash double. But they might have been playing the hit and roll, you're right, because the weight wasn't real big.
Siia lüüa, siis see kollane hakkab sinna jooksma, aga ta ei pruugi nagu punasest
Now they
kohe
could
paremaks
really
minna,
move that
olla
yellow,
nagu
couldn't they?
siiapoole
Couldn't
välja.
Martin Little move the yellow?
See siin,
Yeah,
the
the
back
tap is
four.
easier.
Yeah.
see peaks tulema 12
You can see almost half of the red. Play that top, and he could sit at least 1 and 3, and probably 1, 2, 3, or probably 1, 2. Anybody offering any suggestions on these positions? You know, the bookends. I'm not getting anything out there.
No, me neither. But then again, my computer apparently does not like to update. So
There's a big shot here. If he can move this yellow, 3 is definitely in play. That sounded like an urgent yes in Estonian. Oh, he's off now. Must be close. It's close. Finish a bit. There it is. He moved the yellow. He's going to sit 2. Nice result. No.
Okay on.
The Netherlands is going to play this freeze. It is available, although they're going to have to freeze to a rock that they can see half of. Of course, it doesn't have to be a perfect freeze to take away this end either.
it needs to be a perfect freeze. You cannot roll off, roll out.
Can't chap off, but they could be a little short and not be too bad if they're a second shot.
So a lot of focus required here for Mark Neilman.
I think he thinks he's a little heavy with it, a little solid. He's backing off like if he trails it, it will slow down. Now he's moving in. He's got a long way to come. He's really out there. Should finish now, but I don't think it's going to finish enough. Of course now, a little hit and roll, flop on top of your own. Even if it's half behind that top one.
Yeah, and it could be a big turnaround in the game for Estonia.
Suddenly a 4 would be in play, I think, then. If they can hit and flop to split the center line.
Marianne Nielman is going to need to pull off a really good one.
teine variant on, et panna ise siia lihtsalt, aga siis jääb neile see vise.
No,
me peame selle ära võtma.
mul ei ole mõtet siia mängida, nad saavad siit
They
põrkust.
could really seal it off here with a perfect roll.
peame ikkagi selle võtma.
I think a roll that just touches where your shooter just rolls over to touch the center line would be gold here.
Pool põrget siia.
Jah.
Kui ei tõuse, siis las läheb juba siiapoole.
ma arvan, et
It's like
siis
a lot
ei tõuse nii palju.
I don't know what sort of weight he's throwing. That looks like a fair amount of ice.
No, võta nii.
Not a lot of weight. Doesn't need a lot of weight.
No, he basically just needs to tap this back to the 12-foot, and if he feels he gets a better line
Väga hea.
with softer weight, then that's the call. Probably playing hack bumper-ish with this one though.
Yeah. Roll over, touch the center line with the shooter, and I'm not sure what the Netherlands has left.
Tundub kiirem vist.
Cleaning.
Might need to hit and roll in off their own
Väljapoole pihta on vaja.
Curling to do.
Netherlands.
Just, they didn't need to be sweeping that, but I guess maybe they thought they'd roll away. Must have been what they were thinking. Now a big shot here right back for the Netherlands, a small opening, if they can make the hit and roll. If they can make the hit and roll, it will be
Ja.
really difficult for Estonia to score or score more than one.
Yeah, definitely.
Ja.
There's it's probably quite good for them if they roll all the way in behind. They don't want to give Estonia the chance to just play it off of the reds, the top red.
Ja.
I don't think they can't roll for shot, I don't think.
Leg maar af.
No, but
If they roll, if they basically make the roll that to touch the center line, they'd be in pretty good shape. Yeah. Big shot. Shot for Marianne Nielman, part of the Nielman family here for the week in Fredericton. In-turn hit.
Yep.
It's a roll about, what, a rock and a half? It's out there.
yeah, definitely needs to roll though.
Needs to finish big.
I'll just get to know, so chance for Estonia to actually take the lead here.
Yeah, a big three-point end is available here. Anywhere nose to, if she gets a little inside, she's good.
Tehniliselt. Mina teeks siia ja 10.
Another okay. She rolls big, she might even catch a bit of her own and stick around. Of course, open hits aren't quite as routine when you have no sweepers and no one to talk to when you're in the hack.
Võib 11 ka tulla, siis saad
It's all a little less routine. So you really have to bear down and focus in mixed doubles. Throw it as clean as you can. There's some focus.
Järgi harjama kohe.
teeth gritted. She knew it was a big shot. A little tight though. Looked like she slid. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, we got a burn stone. Right.
One red.
Oh, tough luck there. Just one red instead of three. And lucky for Netherlands.
I think she burned it with that stopwatch. If she had the stopwatch on the brush, she wouldn't have burned it. That's another reason to get rid of the stopwatch. You see, it slipped down, adds a little beyond the shaft of the brush, and burned it with that. Look, she's moving it now. Not a fan of stopwatches, so there you go.
And here you see after 6 ends, it's Estonia 4 and Netherlands still in the lead with 5.
It's not often you get to burn your own stone.
Well, then at least you only have yourself to blame. It's really hard if you play a good one and your sweepers burn it.
As fellow front end players, as both front end players, we know what that's like when you burn a skip's rock, a last rock.
Why would you assume that I know what that's like?
You played enough. I don't know what it's like, really. Really? No, I do, sadly. But it is unusual in mixed doubles. You burn your own stone and have only yourself to yell at or to glare at. I don't know how you can glare at yourself, but that's what you have to do.
I just tried and I don't think it was pretty.
You tried to glare at yourself. It's a difficult maneuver.
Well, if you don't try, you never know if you can do it.
Now she's come back. Oh, Christina's wrecked on the guard. She's going to roll that shooter. Now we might see. There we go. And we're seeing the Netherlands go behind the corner now. I like this call.
Yeah, I think maybe this was the type of situation where Estonia should actually just have taken some more time. Christine just threw that big shot and burned it, and then she was right in the hack throwing that freeze straight away, and maybe they just needed to talk about that and she needed to sit down and have a deep breath before she played it.
That's a good point. She was quick to throw the next one, and after you've just burned your own last rock, you might need a moment to regroup. But a little Christmas tree here, maybe. Not quite, but almost. This is now, I would say right now, this is, really nice setup for the Netherlands. It's a good shot there. Top 8, half tucked behind the corner.
Yeah, really nice.
Yep, really nice play.
And Estonia just want to freeze to the shot stone. Not an ideal situation when you basically have to steal now for 2 ends in a row. Same time, if you lock it on, you could maybe force some sort of mistake out of Netherlands and then put up a center guard. Martin Little really couldn't have made that any better.
Yeah, it's a great shot. It can still be picked, I think, though. I mean, it's pretty easy to move that and lie 2 or 3. In fact, even if you touch your own at the back and move it, that would be a good result, and spill your shooter over a bit.
Yeah, if you could roll in behind the other red here. But they're not playing that much weight, just hack, so they probably won't roll too far.
Yeah, you could actually play it with more weight, lose your back one, pick the red and try to roll your shooter, and all of a sudden there's nothing for Martin and Kristen Lill to play to. Get that red. That's a pretty good result.
Okay. Yeah, keep the back yellow, roll behind. A lot of separation in the house now.
And they've exposed that red, and the 8-foot, pretty easy out-turn hit on that is available now. There's not a really great place for Martin and Kristen Lill to put this one now. They're looking at the wide out-turn. Pretty good call, I think. But they're going to be going out in a patch of ice that we probably haven't been on yet.
isegi kui ta põrgatab
And
selle
he
kollase
just
siia
threw the
väljapoole,
draw the other way.
ma tuleks siit samalt poolt.
jah,
So might want to try and play the exact same shot that he just did.
He's going back to the in-turn draw.
sa oled seda meelt, et ära lööma ei lähe.
teine variant.
So Sarah, I think we have to talk to the ice makers and go out late one night this week and try some of our strategic ideas and see how they pan out.
Asetame siia peale. Asetame kas peale või tuleb siia kuskile poolele see peit.
me võime praegu veel asetada.
Tactics in
Jah.
the tactics we're discussing using here in mixed doubles that we're not seeing in a lot of.
You sure you want to do that? I'd probably beat you.
natuke sisse.
Probably, although I did beat you earlier in a sprint up here.
Well, someone cheated.
Yeah, well, sometimes when it's age over, over youth, you have to sort of use guile to pull off a victory every now and then. Martin Lill with a big shot here while we discuss our sprinting.
Yep, in this case it's
suund on hea.
bodybuilding versus knitting, but their curling certainly is pretty good so far.
Vaata joonte
The
vahel.
knitting with the advantage.
aeglane on.
Yeah, tough shot here. Needs to be
14-7
buried behind a stone in the 8-foot. Estonia love to pick up a steal here, and even though it's not in front of the tee line, it's pretty well played.
Getting that buried that much was a really good play, actually. Could he play the... I guess he can't see enough of the red in the 8-foot to come off it and move that over. Jams on the yellow. I think, though, the trouble with the freeze here is you're sort of... Now you're closing down the scoring area again.
Yeah, and they were looking so good with all of that separation and stones in the house. Now you freeze. Estonia might lock one on again, and they might only be able to score one. Even though if they do score one, they'll have a 2-point lead in the 8th end.
Of course, we've seen a lot of scores more than twos, though, so I don't think a 2-point lead is particularly safe. They could have
This
peeled the
one is
red
looking
guard,
hot.
too, right? I mean, if he peeled the red guard, I don't think you want to put this one deep, though.
Oh, it's really, really hot.
Not the results he was looking for.
So let's see what Estonia is going to do to protect this and try and pick up a steal here then.
Draw top 4 here, right? I mean, top 4, half buried. Follow Martins down.
It sounds like a very good plan to me.
I don't know if they're considering it, but it seems to me if you go top 4, half buried, you have not only a chance to steal, maybe get 2.
Just being a little bit more defensive here and hitting the back one, I don't really know what good that's going to do them.
I mean, it is going to leave a...
They are going to need to try and roll away, because if they just hit this on the nose, it's a double for Netherlands.
Doubles there, and even if they roll a little bit, even if they ever rolled under, then the freeze suddenly becomes easier. Yeah, I think he's played the same shot with 3 feet less weight. End up just in the top 4. We'll see how this works out. Hit and roll away. Rolling away is not the worst result there.
Are they sitting 2 or 3 now?
I think they're 2, aren't they? Mark Nealman thinks he can run this yellow into the right into the pocket there. Maybe, I think it's 2, maybe 3 though.
If Netherlands hits this too thin, it could be 3.
Yeah, it could create a host of trouble if they hit it too thin and miss those back reds. Just peel it out, basically. Which is certainly a possibility. And I can't see a lot of that from the hack. It's not an especially comfortable shot to look at from the hack.
No, and once again, we're seeing this one's going to be played from the line and out. We've seen this path curl a bit more. So, run back here in the house for Mark Neilman.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
Needs to catch this quite thick.
Nice second shot after that.
Yeah, not a bad result with that red guard being so high and also a little bit wide. The red shot stone is now available, and there is actually a double, I think, right now.
It's fairly flat, but it's definitely there. And there certainly wouldn't be a lot of risk in throwing that double. They're going to look at hitting this in line 3, which may not be the worst call either in mixed doubles. Draws aren't against 3 aren't as routine as they can be in traditional curling. Not that a draw against 3 is ever that routine, really, but a draw to the 4-foot in traditional curling is typically more routine.
Yeah, definitely, especially like on ice like this, where it's a really, really great surface, and if you have 2 sweepers, you should be able to make that draw to the 4-foot.
Yeah.
Here it's, you know, just you and your stones.
And you chasing it, so it adds a little more doubt. So they're going to play this hit, I guess, in lie 3, all behind the tee line, but 3 nonetheless. See if Christine recovered from her last shot in the other end.
Yep.
She was slid a little tight, fed it back out. Maybe not enough. She's working hard. Oh, Martin doesn't like it. That is not the result they wanted. Now it's an open hit for 2.
Or a double for 3. I think they're just going to go for the open one, score 2, get a comfortable 3-point lead into the 8th end.
Moment to settle herself, Marianne. Big shot here. She makes this. They're in a really good position to win the game. Pretty solid out of her hand. Brother signaling no sweeping to no one. There's a rock traveling along as if the sweepers have been abducted, but it's mixed doubles curling, folks. So it's... Oh! 1 yellow.
1 yellow.
1 yellow it is, and it's not a 3-point lead, but a 2-point lead for Netherlands in the 8th and maybe final end of this game.
So not a point you like to leave out there. Would have been nice for them to for the Netherlands to score 2. On sheet C, we have Slovakia against Norway. It's 9-9 playing the 8th end, Norway with the hammer. On sheet B, we have Scotland versus England, 7-3. They've wrapped that game up, a victory for Scotland. And Sweden versus Finland on sheet A. That is 9-6 for Sweden over Finland. They're playing the 8th. Finland has the hammer. First shot of the 8th end, possibly the last end, in this game between Estonia and the Netherlands. Marianne Neilman with her first one on the way has to recover from a Missed opportunity to score 2 points with her last in the 7th end.
Sit down.
Looks like she's a little strong with this. And that's going to sail right by.
Ees punane.
Yeah, 2 points up, just maybe deciding to be very defensive.
I don't know if that. It's a tough game to play defense in this mixed doubles. I think especially 2 points is really tough to sort of try to defend. I think you have to go to score here. I think if you play to score, you might force them to one and win the game. But here's Christine Lills first. Again, top 8 here would be great.
Harja. Harja. Ei.
Oh, I think Martin's thinking about taking it right behind it. It's not position A.
No, that's just creating a pocket for Mark Neilman to come down to. Just freeze away both of these reds.
Mark drops this freeze in here. It's really going to close down the scoring area and really make it tough to score too.
Lengte is oké.
Oké,
Top 4.
ruimte, ruimte. Ruimte, alleen lengte, alleen lengte.
Pretty good
Definitely,
result.
yeah, gets a nice one in there. Now Estonia's going to have to try and figure out how they're going to score their deuce.
And they're really going to have to move some rocks here to open it up to make that deuce a possibility.
Going to start with a freeze though.
Yeah. I think you might want to try that in turn, and even though you move that back red off the yellow a bit,
Mängiks
open it up,
teiselt poolt.
put
Ja
three
nii, et
three
jookse
red
oma
in
punase
there.
tagant ära. Teiselt poolt servast.
Maybe that's what he's looking at. Let's see. Listen to that. There you go, Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taga valgega.
And move it a bit. I really think they want to move that
Natuke
back red, free it
sissepoole.
up.
Kitsas,
On its way. I don't know what Ditsats means, but
oota.
he's sweeping.
Ei. Tundub kiire olevat, väga kiire olevat.
Looks like it's got some finishing to do. Is it a little solid as well? Just touch that yellow.
Oh,
Well, the Netherlands could. The Neilman siblings. They're going to freeze in there again.
Iets meer.
We're going to touch more ice. Freeze another one in and really well, and it's 2 shots to get them out of there, and they don't have that many shots to give the Estonians right now. Mark Neilman with his intern on the way.
Mag wat hebben? Lengte is oké. Top 4.
Hier.
Hästi. Ja meie punased võimalikult tagant ära.
What do you like here, Sarah?
it's starting to look quite tough.
Starting to look pretty grim for your deuce, isn't it?
Yeah, those stones still need to be moved.
You have to do something with that top yellow. I might start to think about hitting it fairly hard.
Tagajoonega.
If you can move some things around, they only need 2 to tie it. They don't need. Leave themselves at least a chance to get the mixed doubles equivalent of a skip's deuce, right? Where they come around on the 4 and come around on the 5th rock.
Yeah, definitely. And well, they do have that one in the back 12 foot as well, so they've got stones lying around. Just
See how hard he throws this. I think you really got to do something pretty serious with the 2 yellows that are in there. Not touching this at all. Watching it, coaxing it. Terrible, but
Ja.
I think for the Netherlands, the play is another freeze. I don't see much value in hitting those reds.
no hitting those reds, and you know, your back yellow might fly too, and then that forfeit area might just be as open as Estonia needs it to be.
Right. Actually, they are looking at hitting.
Je kan hem een klein stukje tappen en hier rollen.
I think you could play the out-turn draw, and I just don't see the advantage to hitting at this point in the end. It's exactly what you point out, Sarah, yeah, that if you hit, you are just going to open the thing up to make a deuce more possible than it certainly is now. When you played this in playdowns in Sweden, Sarah, did you throw 1 and 5?
En als je buiten blijft, dan kan je dit ook.
We actually took turns.
You rotated.
Well, it was kind of who has the most feeling today, and it worked out really well
Until you lost.
until we lost.
Then it didn't work so well.
But we were amazing up until we lost.
That's always the way, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we were 5-0 in the group.
Oh, were you really 5-0 in your group, and
Yep.
then you lost in the playoffs?
Amazing, 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 and then terrible. It happens. So they're not going for the out turn, but the in turn, it's still a freeze or a draw called though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess even if they corner freeze on the high red, would be a pretty good result as well. Inside, corner freeze on the inside of it. But interesting in this format. I really, typically when you're trying to, you might think about hitting here, but just no advantage to hitting at this point in the end.
No, there are way too many stones in play, and it's set up pretty nicely for Netherlands. There's just no point in
I think they are trying the
messing
corner.
with that.
I think they could have let that go a little bit and get a little more in the corner of it. They can get rid of 1 yellow here, and maybe open it up a bit. They throw this with some weight. A player who could throw it really hard would probably hit quarter that yellow on the high side. Spill 2 yellows. Leave that 1 yellow lonely in the rings, right?
Yeah, that would mean you've got 1 lonely yellow in your back red, and the 2 might be in play.
I mean, I think if you hit the quarter that yellow on the high side.
Väljapoole natuke. Ta peab 50% väljapool olema.
While this important stone is just about to come down, we can tell you that Sweden won over Finland 11 shots to 6. Scotland beat England, and Norway came back and beat Slovakia.
Trading 5 in that. Big shot here on its way. Looks like he's throwing it about normal hit weight. They want to hit it high side. Well, I think he needed to move that one, the high yellow, out or further.
Yeah.
Because now they're down to 1 shot, and I don't know how they get their deuce.
No, if that yellow out counts the red, then
Here?
it's going to be very hard for Estonia to
Yeah.
score 2.
Van hier?
Didn't have to move it that much further, did he?
Zoals jij
No.
And then they'd, you know, they would be sitting 2-3, and it would be a little nervous for the Netherlands. I think if he'd thrown that a little bit harder, would have moved that yellow pretty easily, at least over into the 8-foot.
Foot is goed, Marjan.
Ja.
Looking good for Netherlands when Marianne Nielman is down in the hack, getting ready to throw the last stone of the game for them.
Yep, Verlijn.
8.
Well,
8-4.
for the chip done.
4-4.
Close. Yep.
4.
Yep. Hard. Yep. Hard. Come on. Hard, 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 hard. Go, 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 go. Hard.
And that is going to make it very tough for a deuce. I don't see a shot for 2, do you?
No.
I think they might just shake hands, but I don't see a shot for 2, but she's going to throw one.
No, I don't think this is here.
No, I don't think so either. I guess if you hit it right in the middle hard enough and you squirted the yellow that's touching the button and chipped the other one out, but I think Kevin Martin might need to throw it, and I don't think he can make it. Or Nicholas Adine need to throw it probably. She's throwing it hard.
Yep.
Last stone of the game for Estonia.
Hit it right there, and even then it wasn't going to go.
Yeah. Congratulations.
So, Netherlands pick up the win here to move to 1-1 after 2 games played. Estonia will drop down to 0-2. And you see the line score right there. It'll come back shortly, I believe.
Bedankt, mannen.
There you see it. Final score, Netherlands 9, Estonia 4. Our next game will be tomorrow at 1:30 local time here in Fredericton. It'll be Scotland versus Sweden. But for now, stay tuned for highlights and interview. Here are the highlights from the 5th end. And Marianne Nielman with a draw for 2. She'll come up short. And Netherlands will score 1. Leading the game 5 shots to 3. in the sixth end, this is a nose hit for 3. And a big shot for Estonia to turn the game around. Christina Little is up to sweep her own stone. And you will see it right there. She accidentally burnt it. They will take it off, and instead of 3, they will score 1. In the seventh end, a hit for 2 and the 3-point lead. Marianne Nielman will roll off. Netherlands will score 1, leading the game 6 shots to 4 before the 8th and final end, where Christina Little is left with a pretty much impossible shot for 2. Not able to make it. It'll be a steal of 3 for Netherlands, and they win the game 9 shots to 4. That's it for us for today. Stand by for interview with the Netherlands. Please. Yeah. Knackered. It's cold in here.
Well, congratulations on your first win of the event. 9-4 on the scoreboard, but I imagine it felt a little tighter than that throughout the whole game.
Yes, it did. Especially the second half felt a lot tighter.
You jumped out to the 4-1 lead early, and then Estonia kept coming back, and a big momentum change in the sixth end with a burned rock. Did you breathe a sigh of relief on that when there was a hit for 3?
Yeah, a little bit. Well, it was a relief for us, but a really shitty rock for them.
Indeed, that's a good way to describe that one, a burn of your own rock. So you guys are sort of the first family of Dutch curling. Your father is here playing seniors, your mom's coaching. Is there anybody else left at home, or is this the whole Nielman clan here this week?
This is the whole family. It's the whole deal. Yeah.
Is it nice to have that big cheering section? You have a bigger cheering section than most teams here when your dad's team shows up and cheers the whole way?
Yeah, it was nice. They gave us some support, and it's always nice to play in front of a crowd where they cheer for your stones. It gives you a good feeling. So, yeah, it's really nice to play.
What sort of goals do you have for this? You've been in this event before. What sort of? No, you haven't been actually. I'm sorry. Sorry. Gosh. All right. Anyways, what sort of ambition do you have? Where do you expect to finish in the pool? What are you hoping to do this week?
Well, because we haven't played it before, we have a hard time guessing where we're going to end up. So for me, I think for us, winning half of our games is something that would make us proud. But of course, you're always hoping for a little bit more. So place in the quarter maybe would be very nice.
Yeah, realistic goal. Do you play a lot of mixed doubles at home?
No, not really. It's not really a big thing.
Do you think it's a format that could help your club and help grow the game in the Netherlands a bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a really nice game, and
You're good with that. Thanks for your time.
Can I comment
Have a
on
good.
that?
Absolutely.
I think it is a good game. It looks a little bit funny at first if you're used to regular curling. But the fun thing is, like you said, we jumped to a 4-1 lead, but then it was tight. Anything can happen in this game. It's not over till the last stone is thrown, and they say that about the regular curling game as well. But especially with this format, it is very dangerous. You got to keep making your stones, otherwise you can get a big score against really quick.
Well, thanks for your time. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you
Thank
very
you very
much.
much.